Level 1. Jahannam, the uppermost layer of hell. The first level of Jahannam is described as the least intense among the seven, yet it remains a realm of torment and fire. It is reserved for Muslims who, though believing in Allah's oneness, committed serious sins during their lives without repentance. According to several commentaries, this stage functions as both punishment and purification, a temporary place for those who must be cleansed before entering paradise. The heat in this layer is less extreme than in the deeper levels, but the pain is constant. As each soul enters, their faces are seared by fire, and their flesh is consumed before being renewed so the punishment can continue without end. This cycle echoes the Quranic description. Every time their skins are roasted, we replace them with new skins so they may taste the punishment. Some traditions describe this level as divided into 14 mansions, each mansion tailored to a specific sin. In the first mansion, tyrants are confined in coffins within an ocean of fire, surrounded by snakes and scorpions. In the second, the greedy and deceitful, those who misused trust or stole inheritance, are pierced with red-hot forks while serpents enter their mouths. Elsewhere, liars hang by their tongues, faces torn by copper nails, and those who flaunted themselves in vanity are suspended by their hair. Neglect of prayer is punished with transformation. Worshippers who ignored their salah become dog-headed creatures devoured by serpents, while adulterers burn in sealed furnaces. Other mansions show demons forcing sinners to drink molten liquid that burns their insides, or cutting the tongues of hired mourners and false entertainers. The deepest of these halls contains murderers impaled repeatedly by iron spears, and those who abandoned prayer entirely, crucified on flaming pillars. Despite the horrors described, Islamic scholars emphasize that this upper level is also a mercy. Its torments, though severe, may be temporary. After purification, those whose faith remained intact could, by Allah's permission, ascend to forgiveness and the gardens of Jannah.
Level 2. Laza, the flame of denial. Laza, the second level of Jahannam, lies beneath the upper layer and burns with greater intensity. It is reserved for both humans and jinn who rejected Allah, denied His messengers, or mocked divine revelation after knowing the truth. Some exegetical texts include within this group those who actively opposed prophets such as Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, Nuh, and Muhammad. The defining characteristic of Laza is internal burning. Flames enter through the body's openings and consume the organs from the inside outward, producing a slow, suffocating destruction. The Quran refers to this in Surat Al-Ma'arij, 7th chapter, verse 15 and 16. Nay, it is the flame that strips away the scalp. The fire here is described as alive, roaring and reacting to the cries of its inhabitants. The punishment symbolizes spiritual suffocation, the deprivation of divine light that once could have guided them. Unlike the upper level, no renewal or relief occurs in Laza. Instead, the body is continuously annihilated and reformed only to burn again. Islamic commentary states that the flame seeks out the hearts, reflecting verse 104, verses 6 and 7, the fire of Allah kindled which reaches the hearts. In this level, there is no rest, no shade, no dialogue with Allah. It represents the first true separation from divine mercy, where disbelief and conscious rejection of truth are met with perpetual, consuming fire. Level 3. Saqar, the scorching fire. Saqar, The third level of Jahannam is assigned to those who knew the truth yet ignored their obligations. The Quran explicitly lists their failings in Surat al-Muddathir 74, 42 through 47, neglecting prayer, refusing to feed the poor, engaging in vain conversation, and denying the Day of Judgment. It is also described as the destination for apostates, those who believed in Allah and then deliberately abandoned faith. The punishment in Saqar is characterized by flesh-consuming fire that spares the bones. When the skin is entirely burnt, it regenerates instantly, so the agony continues without interruption. This regeneration fulfills the Quranic pattern of repeated exposure rather than annihilation. Saqar's heat is described as unbearable, a flame neither leaving anything unburned nor allowing complete death. The inhabitants beg for non-existence but are denied it, as stated in 78:30. So taste, we will add nothing to you except torment. The environment is absolute desolation. No light, no sound but the roaring of the fire and the weeping of those within. The theological meaning of Saqar reflects a midpoint in divine judgment, the punishment of those who knew their duty to Allah but rejected it. It is a realm of accountability for moral neglect rather than total disbelief, marking the irreversible consequence of choosing falsehood over faith.
Level 4. Al-Hutama, the crushing fire. Al-Hutama, the fourth level of Jahannam, derives its name from the Arabic root meaning to crush or to shatter. It is reserved for those who amassed wealth through deceit, caused division, and spread corruption by valuing material gain over moral integrity. The Quran explicitly mentions this fire in Surat Al-Humazah 104 verses 4-7. Nay, he will surely be thrown into Al-Hutama. And what will make you know what Al-Hutama is? It is the fire of Allah, kindled, which reaches up to the hearts. The punishment here begins from the feet upward, engulfing the entire body and burning inward until it reaches the heart, the symbol of intention and sincerity. Unlike previous levels, Al-Hutama's fire is described as self-feeding, fueled by the arrogance and greed of its inhabitants. Their torment is intensified by the emotional agony of seeing what their hoarded wealth has become, a source of destruction rather than security. Classical tafsir describes this fire as crushing both body and spirit, leaving nothing intact. Their inhabitants cry until their tear ducts dry, whereupon blood replaces their tears, forming vast pools beneath them. Their wailing never ceases, for this level represents both physical incineration and the collapse of moral pride. Al-Hutama stands as the realm of those who exploited others for worldly benefit and broke the unity of their communities. It embodies the divine warning that wealth gained without justice becomes the instrument of one's own ruin.
Level 5. Jahim, the blazing pit. Jahim, the fifth level of Jahannam, is described in the Quran as a place of unrelenting fire and humiliation. The term appears repeatedly, including in Surat Ash-Shu'ara 26:91. And the blazing fire, Jahim, will be brought into view for the straying. This level is reserved for those who openly defied Allah through acts of sorcery, idolatry, and false prophecy, as well as for individuals who refuse to uphold justice or show mercy to the poor. The punishment here revolves around degradation and internal torment. The inhabitants are fed from the cursed tree of Zaqqum, whose fruit resembles the heads of devils, 37:62-65. When consumed, it burns the stomach like molten metal, and their bellies swell with fire.
To drink, they are given a boiling fluid of pus and blood that tears apart their insides. Each act of defiance receives a fitting retribution. Those who worshipped false gods are chained before idols made of flame. Sorcerers and fortune-tellers who claim divine powers are engulfed by their own illusions, now transformed into burning specters. The Quran in 1829 declares, "We have prepared for the wrongdoers a fire whose walls will surround them, and if they ask for relief, they will be given water like molten brass that scalds their faces." The fire of Jahannam does not only burn, it exposes, stripping away falsehood and pride. Every breath taken in this level is pain. Every movement rekindles the flames. It is the realm where those who sought power through deception meet the reality of absolute helplessness.
Level 6. Sa'ir, the blazing flame. Sa'ir, meaning the blazing flame, is the 6th level of Jahannam and among the most severe. The Quran references it repeatedly, such as in Suratul Mulk 67:5. We have prepared for them the punishment of Sa'ir. It is the destination for those who persistently rejected truth after clear proof, led others astray, and used knowledge or authority to spread disbelief or corruption. It also includes those who stole from orphans and consumed their wealth unjustly, an act condemned in 4:10. Indeed, those who devour the property of orphans unjustly are only consuming fire into their bellies, and they will be burned in a blazing flame, sa'ir. This level is described as a vast, ceaseless inferno containing fortresses and chambers of torment. Classical descriptions state there are 300 castles, each with 300 chambers, each chamber containing 300 forms of punishment. The variety signifies total retribution. No sin or deceit is left unaddressed. The punishments include scorpions the size of mules, snakes with fire in their fangs, and chains that drag sinners through burning iron grounds. Those who spread lies about Allah or distorted revelation suffer a unique agony. Their faces are peeled away repeatedly, each layer regenerating as the next is burned off. The air itself is fire, and every breath fuels the blaze further. At the center of Sa'ir lies the pit of agony, the most intense point of suffering in all of Jahannam. Here, souls are gathered whose actions directly corrupted faith or destroyed others' trust in Allah. Their punishment never pauses, as even the act of screaming reignites the flames around them. Sa'ir is the domain of deliberate misguidance, the consequence for those who used influence to extinguish truth and led others toward disbelief.
Level 7. Al-Hawiyah, the Abyss. Al-Hawiyah, the 7th and deepest level of Jahannam, is the final and most terrifying realm of punishment. The word Hawiyah means the abyss, or a bottomless pit. It is referenced in Surat Al-Qariyah 101, 9-11. But as for him whose scales are light, his refuge will be Al-Hawiyah. And what will make you know what Al-Hawiyah is? It is a blazing fire. This level is reserved for the hypocrites, munafiqun, slanderers, mockers of Allah and His messengers, and those who displayed belief outwardly while concealing disbelief within. The environment here is described as absolute darkness, a void where light cannot exist. The fire is black and all-consuming, giving off no illumination, only agony. The condemned are bound with iron shackles, their hands tied to their necks and necks to their legs. Whenever they attempt to escape, angels of punishment, the Zabaniya, force them back with iron maces. As mentioned in Surat Al-Alaq 96:18, we will summon the Zabaniya. Each sinner's punishment mirrors their hypocrisy. False preachers who misled others for power or status have their lips and tongues cut off with fiery shears. Backbiters and slanderers claw at their own faces and throats with hooks of metal, symbolizing the damage their words caused. Disbelievers who mocked revelation are clothed in garments of fire, while boiling water is poured over their heads, melting their skin and entrails, as noted in 22:19-20. In this lowest depth, the weight of arrogance and deceit reaches its conclusion. The souls are crushed beneath mountains of flame, unable to move or speak. The Quran describes it as a fire closing in on them in extended columns, 104:8-9, sealing them completely within its embrace. The angels stand over them with hands of iron, beating them as the flames tighten, enveloping each sinner as a mother embraces her child, but in fire, not mercy. Al-Hawiyah represents the total absence of divine light, the final separation from Allah's compassion. It is where the veil of hypocrisy is torn away, and the soul faces the full consequence of its deceit.